Keep watching to learn how plaintiff lawyers are holding pharmaceutical companies accountable.
Welcome to the YouTube channel of Michael J. Swanson. Michael is the author of How David Beats Goliath and is the CEO of Advocate Capital. And now, here's Michael.
Dr. Roderick Edmond is the managing and founding partner of Edmond, Lindsay & Atkins, an Atlanta law firm with a concentration in the area of plaintiff's wrongful death and catastrophic personal injury. Dr. Edmond received a BS in biology in 1983 from Morehouse College in Atlanta. In 1987, he received his medical degree from Duke University. He served 5 years as a physician and captain in the United States Army. During his last 3 years on active duty, he served as staff physician at the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. And while practicing medicine at the Pentagon, Dr. Edmond attended law school at night and received his Juris Doctor degree in 1993 from Georgetown University. Dr. Edmond has published numerous articles in medical journals and is an active speaker on the subjects of medical legal issues. He is an active member of the Atlanta community and lives with his family in Inman Park. And now, here's Dr. Rod Edmond. Rod, thank you for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Well, look, it's good to be here. Again, I want to thank Advocate Capital for all the support that you've given our firm over the years.
Well, more than welcome. And you are quite an accomplished plaintiff lawyer, not just a plaintiff lawyer, but also a doctor, which I know gives you unique insight into medical malpractice and other cases involving pharmaceuticals, et cetera. And you and I were talking recently about some opioid cases that you're working on. Would you mind sharing with us about those?
Sure. Our firm was designated by a number of counties and a few cities in the South to represent them in lawsuits against the manufacturers and distributors of opioids. And the theory of liability is very, very simple. I mean, these opioid manufacturers and distributors, they knew that the medicines that they were putting on the market, they oversold them in terms of their therapeutic or pain-killing capacity and undersold them in terms of their addictive capacity. And they put this information directly in front of patients. They basically strong-arm doctors in order to prescribe them. And as a result, we've got probably 2 or 3 generations of Americans, irrespective of race, economic income, who are hooked and addicted to opioids. And the effects have been devastating to our country. We're talking about millions of people who have been addicted, hundreds of thousands who have lost their lives, and we're holding these manufacturers and distributors accountable for their corporate greed. They just overreached. They said, screw the fact that you're killing people and hurting people. We want to make money.
Wow. So you're actually representing not plaintiffs, but government agencies?
Well, they're one and the same, all right?
Okay.
Our plaintiffs in these cases are the governmental agencies or entities. And the theory is that these governmental entities, they have borne a greater weight and proportion of the economic burden of the opioid epidemic. I mean, if you think about it, and like for example, like in Atlanta, the public health system is the Fulton County health system. It's the county that basically incorporates most of Atlanta. And they have been saddled with paying for the rehabilitation costs, the rehab costs, the addiction treatment, the hospitalizations from overdoses, having to spend the tens of thousands of dollars per week for the Narcan kits. It's the medicine that reverses the effects of an opioid overdose. The county has got to pay for that money out of pocket. Yeah. We have to pay for the cost of jailing people who are basically in jail as a result of their addictions. And so there's just a cornucopia of economic damages that these government agencies have endured and basically embraced as a result of the opioid addiction. So that's the damages that they've suffered.
Yeah, and I guess if you think about it, the government agencies are really the taxpayers in a way because it's taxpayer money. Yeah.
That's exactly right. Taxpayers have paid a huge price. They paid a huge price as a result of corporate greed and these corporations overreaching, knowing that they were flooding our streets and our communities with addictive medicines, and they didn't give a damn. They didn't. All they wanted to do was make money.
And people think the government's going to protect them from this kind of thing, but I know that it's plaintiff lawyers like yourself who really kind of are the watchdog on many of these corporate malfeasance and wrongdoings that happen. And they, they're worried about the dollar, not about people. It's not until you come along and hold them accountable that you maybe hopefully get their attention.
That you could be no further from the truth. I mean, anybody with two eyes can see that we have got a constant tension in this nation between corporate greed and community health and public health.
Yeah.
And as you know, in politics, corporations flood the political scene with donations and the like. And so they have a lot of quote, our representatives who are in their back pockets. And so a lot of times the people who wind up being elected, they really don't reflect the concerns of the public because they get elected by virtue of corporate dollars. So that's a whole nother discussion in and of itself.
Yeah.
The bottom line is this, is that for sure, and I'm just going to say it, everybody tries to demonize the lawyers, and that's not by accident. The corporations have spent a whole lot of money going on TV, basically running ads, trying to make it seem like the lawyers are the bad guys. And you know what? That is just simply an outright lie. We're the ones that basically recognize truth. We believe in justice. We get you under our wings and we take care of you and we walk you through the promised land. And the promised land is accountability and justice. That's what we do. And I can speak for myself and as well as for a lot of other plaintiffs lawyers. We don't do this because, just for the outcome, the economic gain. When this greedy lawyer thing, I could make a hell of a lot more money doing other things. I'm a doctor and a lawyer. I can do whatever I want. I choose to do this because it's right. There are people who come to me who are busted up, broken, and shock and trauma because somebody's dead or dismembered or dysfunctional, and they don't know anything about what happened. And know this, I get a blessing to be able to tell them the truth of what happened to their families. It is a calling. It is a ministry.
Yes.
And that's what we do.
Amen. Well, Doctor, thank you so much for the work that you and other plaintiffs lawyers do, not just for the plaintiffs, but to make our world a safer, better, and more just place. Thank you for joining us today.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Send your questions or comments to Michael at mike@howdavidbeatsgoliath.com.